Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Marie. Welcome to Get Real Estate with Liz and Marie. And I can kind of hear that again. Is it giving a little feedback?
It sounds okay on my end.
Okay. All right, good. Sorry. And it's just a little gurgly on my end. So hopefully it's not like that for anyone else and it's just all good.
Right. And if it is, let us know. Give us a quick comment or a shout real quick so we know to fix it on our ends.
Yeah, for sure. And I just had to text one of our mutual friends and say, I'm going live. Hold on. But Mickey was texting me a question about our CRM stuff. So we'll see if she pops in. So how are you doing today?
I am doing very well. Looking forward to get up to my Sholo property this weekend and start doing a little bit of projects. I don't even want to call it renovation, just projects, little projects we have here and there.
I know, good. And the main topic today, besides the update, is about short-term rentals, and that is your newest short-term rentals. So we can get into that pretty deeply, and you can let everybody know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what your plan is, since that's the main topic today.
Yes, I will definitely get into that a little bit later. So I guess first we'll do the numbers, right? And so or my eyeballs looking all around. I didn't move my data yet, so I got to move it to this screen. All right, here we go.
Well, I took a sneak peek and it looks a little crazy.
Doesn't it always look a little bit crazy, I think, when I run these numbers? I mean, okay, the number of listings, active listings, according to the MLS, has gone down again. This week, 202 listings. Okay, we're down to 6,610 active listings on the MLS, Liz. So remind everyone.
Wait, do you think too, because it's like so close to Christmas, people are like, oh no, I'm not putting my house on the market yet?
I have to assume that is part of it. It's definitely just the slowdown of this season. But it's crazy. I mean, it was just going. We had a few, 6 weeks where it went up and then just boom, just started going back down again. And, like we had mentioned, we had gotten over 7,000, but 20,000 is our kind of average market, right? Where we would have 3 months of inventory. So we have so little inventory right now. It's just crazy.
And Maricopa County, again, we said this, is one of the largest counties in the nation. And we only have 6,600 houses available.
I know. It's just kind of crazy. I mean, every single city, except Chandler went up 2, but Phoenix is down another 51 listings from last week. Scottsdale's down 18 listings. Tempe's down 8. Mesa's down another 7. And, the price change has not changed much. The median list price has remained pretty constant throughout pretty much every city, except this month Scottsdale had a big jump, okay? So Scottsdale went up 80,000. We are over the $1 million mark in Scottsdale right now. We were teetering million for a while with that 999 and 99, but we are well over the million right now with the median.
So that means half the houses are selling below $1 million and half the houses are selling above $1 million. Half the houses in Scottsdale are selling for above $1 million.
Yes, 1,079,000. And it was interesting because I just looked back at, a few weeks ago how we had done the update, and Paradise Valley was one of the most expensive places to buy a property in the valley. So, I mean, it's just crazy. And I think, depending on where you are in Paradise Valley, right, there's like the 85254 magic zip code that technically like Scottsdale zip code, even though you're kind of within the city of Phoenix border. So I don't know if that counted in that high price point, but I mean, it's crazy to think that the average is just over $1 million there.
It's crazy. But there was probably a couple, even some that sold really high and bumped that number, those two numbers up so much. Next week, we could see it go down again if, those kind of drastic high value luxury houses, aren't in there or something. It's crazy.
Right. It could just be 1 or 2 listings, right? That bumps it back up, or 1 or 2 properties that close. So it's just kind of crazy to me. So our active number of rentals, has remained very, very consistent. We got 58 more on the market in Maricopa County than we did last week. So we're at just over 3,500. And the median rent price has just, I mean, it is not budging. It has been so consistent over these last few months. So the price, prices are just remaining high and rentals are remaining high. So the Valley is a very interesting place right now, And it's funny because I think, okay, just really quick perspective. I went to a kid's birthday party the other day and I was talking to one of the moms and she's like, I don't understand why all these investors are buying properties here because with the current rents, I mean, the rents haven't skyrocketed, so you don't have the greatest cash flow. And how are they coming in and paying above market for all these properties? But I think when you get out-of-state investors that are used to even a lower cash flow and they see the amount of growth happening in the Valley, that they're just in it for the long haul. So
right. We're not going anywhere. And all these businesses, all these industries moving, housing is a necessity. And, I think with rent, if you've locked into a 12-month rental agreement, your rent's not going to change. And then the next year, you can see that step up a little bit. But, our local ASREA, the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association, Alan Langston, constantly is frustrated with our rental market here and how low our prices are and how little they climb. So I think that's just kind of, how it happens here, because if a huge jump happens, we could be in trouble. Now we have this huge inflation going on too. So
I know it's been harder and harder for people to find rentals, but I would be interested. I'll have to go back and look at the data of like last year's rental costs compared to this year's, because we all know the market increased 33% by sales price, right? By value, but I don't think the rental numbers have increased quite as much. They've definitely gone up a little, but not to, outpace or meet that. So
yeah, exactly. But rates are low. So when you are buying these houses, if you're not buying, well, first, if you're buying them from cash, then you have that, the rent coming in is still you can have it set aside for your rainy day funds. I need vacancies, repairs. And then if you're getting a great interest rate on it, then you still have a good payment monthly.
Yeah.
So, they're not buying a high priced house with a high interest rate. So that makes a difference.
Right. I mean, we're not at the 18% that we saw back in the 80s. I mean, I was just a wee little baby for that, but I've been told stories.
Imagine.
All right. So what's this lovely article you pulled? Because
we only have one big article this week, and the reason being is because it was really this is a great article because it's free, so you can click on here and read the whole thing. It's very long, but short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO, we all know are just exploding and have been exploding. And we'll get you to talk more about. I used to have one. I've turned it into a long-term rental. We've sold quite a few, so I'm not necessarily in that business as you are, but there's so much interest in it. And so this AirDNA's 2022 forecast for the short-term rentals, I saw this a couple of days ago and saved it for today. So, I keep thinking, when is it going to enough is enough, but it doesn't seem to be. According to this article, enough is enough. They still need more. People are still, going after them, looking for them. So it's a great business.
Yeah. So I think just, I want to point out a few things. So obviously there is definitely a little bit more headache and maintenance, right, for a short-term rental versus a long-term rental. But the amount of rent or the amount of income that you can get from these short-term rentals far usually exceed what you can get on a long-term rental. So the headache might be worth it for you as an investment strategy, or at least, to diversify a little bit, right? And it's amazing to me that this article specifically talks about certain things like experiences are becoming the big thing, and even longer short-term rentals, right? So because of the pandemic, people are being able to work from home, which really means they can work from anywhere. So people are renting places for longer than 28 days. So the amount of rentals in the short-term market that have become, a month or longer has increased, as well as just these experiences. And I think, with the pandemic still going on, people don't necessarily want to leave the country, but you want to still go on vacation and explore. So it's like the perfect time to try and hit all 50 states, right? Like get it off your bucket list. So I think it's interesting that they say these experiences are really what's increasing. They're seeing lots and lots more of either tiny houses, right? Or RVs, even tents, trailers.
Yeah, the yurts. That's what I just pulled this up to see. I mean, it's the farm stays are up. These tiny houses, the tents, camper RVs and stuff are huge.
Right. So going off that, I thought my husband was crazy a while back because we bought this property in Show Low. There's 2 houses on him. We're going to Airbnb them. And we also have our, camper, our 5th wheel. And so my husband said, well, I'm taking the camper out of the storage, self-parking, and I'm going to park it up there and hook up the sewer and water. And it's going to be a 3rd place for us to put on Airbnb. And at first I thought he was kind of a little crazy, but looking at this article and seeing these numbers, I mean, it is pretty genius.
You can rent them all out separately too.
Right.
Yep. So I'm going to tell you one hint though. Don't do it in the winter. Don't take your RV up there in the winter. It'll be a nightmare with the freezing. It freezes up there. You have to remember.
It does freeze. I mean, it obviously has heat, and we can hook it up to the electrical system so that it's got power.
I know. I'll just tell you a super quick story that you weren't expecting. But when I was in high school, we were building a house and we lived in our camper on the property for a few months towards the end when the house was almost done. And this is in Columbus, Ohio. And it was getting cold. And my sister and I were late to school many mornings because my dad would have to go unfreeze the hose for us before we could take a shower or get ready for school. So, and she would always tell the front office that she rode the bus and I would get a tardy because I was the driver. And so it was kind of funny, but just a side note, just to watch.
That's interesting. Okay. So then that just means that I have to put a heat coil around the hose so that it keeps the water from freezing. So I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah.
So that's just a side note, but that is cool. I mean, these destination places, these unique places are definitely on the rise and you cannot go wrong with them. I live, you and I live in the same city, but I live way far north of you and we're by Lake Pleasant and they have houseboats out there that people live on, but there's Airbnb out there that you can stay on the houseboats. And so, that's a cool experience. And then I was just telling you, I saw another opportunity where you can take your RVs or your campers. And, my dad was a traveler and they always, if they were traveling just overnight and needed a place to stay, they used to stay in Walmart parking lots. That's where you could stay there, And now there's people like farms and unique place where you can go spend the night overnight on their property. And my sister has that vineyard north of here. And I'm going to show her this, that she could open it up for nightly stays and people that just want a night over.
Yeah. Well, she's got to get a road that lets an RV up there a little bit easier. She might have to do a little road maintenance, but that would be a great option for people to just come and camp your own RV here, park it, spend a couple nights and learn about the vineyard, right? And get the experience of being on a vineyard. So I love this market. I mean, we bought our first one in 2014. So we've been doing it for a long time and it's just.
You do it nightly though? I mean, how that seems like you said just a few minutes ago, like it's a little bit, because you're more involved. You're there, every few days cleaning, changing or whatever. So what's your minimum so that you're not too busy with it?
So honestly, right now, the ones that are local that are here in Scottsdale, Tempe, we only have a 2-night minimum stay, but we have enough cleaning crews and people that can go in and, handle that quick turnover. Up in Show Low, honestly, we haven't really discussed yet what we want because we won't have them up and running until after the first of the year, right? So we're working on our projects right now. We just spent about $20,000 in landscaping because we really wanted it to be kind of this luxury experience. So we have pavers put in, a paver path all the way down to the lake on the property, some turf put in the yard. And we're going to build a little obstacle course. So we're going to have to sign maybe an extra waiver so nobody gets hurt on the obstacle course.
Well, that's fun. I was just going to ask, like, what kind of unique things will you do different up there? So that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking we have a waiver for our pools, so I don't see why we can't have a waiver for a little obstacle course. But my mom wanted to buy the boys like just a swing set, and I was like, yeah, they're a little bit old for a swing set. So we're doing a little American Ninja Warrior type obstacle course.
Oh, fun. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Guests will have access, and they'll have to sign a waiver as part of their check-in process.
Well, I know, and that's really cool. But what else did your husband buy for the lake for up there, or he's going to buy, or something? You had just told me.
So he had bought a pedal boat,
yes,
that people can use. So we're also planning on getting a floating dock, because we're not allowed to build a permanent dock on our property, but we're allowed to have a temporary dock, a floating dock for, I think it's 8 months out of the year, and then you pull it out for the winter. So for the spring, we already bought the pedal boat, but now we just got to get the dock, so it'll be right there. People can access it, because our speedboat's got to be put away. No, we're not letting people borrow that.
No, I didn't think that, but I knew I was talking about the pedal. I think that's cool. It's just fun. You sit out on the dock, you can take the boat out,
Yeah.
Really
so it's
cool.
just those little things, even the paver patio that we did out front that overlooks the lake. We'll have a nice area in the corner there for fire pit and just a cool place to hang out. And really, we just wanted to make it a little bit more luxury than just being, gravel out in the woods. So we just made the investment so that it's really nice, so that people really want to stay there and can enjoy the time with their family.
I think that's awesome, because my favorite part of my house, I say it all the time, is my backyard. I'd love to be outside. And so if you have an inviting place like that, like you said, I know you guys talked the other night when I was there about a fire pit. So you have a place I can see, in the winter, you have a place just hanging out in the summer, watching the lake, hanging out. I think it's exciting. I can't wait to go there.
And there's a gazebo up there, and there is a spot for a mini vineyard. There's like 2 rows, we might have to fix some of those stakes. So I also, look forward to working with your sister and getting myself some grapevines up there. So I think it'll just be cool all around. There'll be all different areas, such a big property. My husband was just commenting on the fact that the driveway that they ended up building between the 2 houses is so long, and it's on a hill, that he's like, we're not even going to have to find a hill for the boys to go sledding. They can just slide down our own driveway on the property. And I'm like,
awesome.
Oh yeah, that's a couple.
There you go. You'll have to get some sleds up there. Look for some snowshoes too. You should have snowshoes up there. That's one of my favorite. That's easy. Anybody can snowshoe. You slap those on, out you go, come back.
Yeah.
So I'll have to look for those for you too.
Yes.
That's fine. Well, that's great. This is great. So I just encourage people, if you're at all interested in the short-term rental market, read this article, read the highlights that we have with this, because it's going strong and it's going to get even stronger. And there is still a need for houses. So, houses, just places to stay. So just check that out. I think it's, it's just a really cool business.
Yeah. I just want to hit on just a couple of the highlights. So they're expecting the demand to grow another 14% in 2022 for short-term rentals. The number of available listings is still a little bit low according to like pre-pandemic, but the number of bookings has gone up. So it's a really cool time to get into short-term rentals. If you haven't, and if you need more information, reach out to us. We both know a lot about it. So
I want to point out one thing too, because I know your business model has always been bigger houses, more rooms, more people. And that talks about this on here too, that they want to accommodate groups and families so that they can all get together. And so I think the model that you follow, and there's people that do small, they want tiny places, and that's their business. But yours is, how many people can I get in there, and how, what can they do to enjoy that experience? So I think that's a great thing too, is just coming up with like the niche you want to be in.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good
And you're very
point.
good at buying your stuff too. So they really do need to reach out.
I know. We buy at the right price. At least I think so. So, all right. Tell us about your feel-good story that you got.
Okay. So my feel-good story, I thought this was really cute. There was a gas giveaway. So a surprise squad filled tanks for Phoenix drivers. And I do want to shout out who, this was based on with Fry's food grocery stores or not Fry. Well, it was Fry's, but it was Arizona's Family Surprise Squad, which is one of our TV stations here, and Valley Toyota dealers. Went to the Fry's gas station and did the surprise to people. And so we're all suffering through these higher gas prices right now. And could you imagine if somebody showed up and filled up your car? It would be amazing.
It just cost me $80.
Oh, I know. And your car, yes. And that's it. These trucks are crazy, and, we've had them for a long time. It wasn't like get something smaller. Well, the gas prices weren't that when we purchased the vehicles that we have. But the one story was they went up to a mom, they, in her van filling it up, and they asked if they could fill it up. And she was so grateful. And she said, they pretty much live paycheck to paycheck. And this was her last little bit to fill up till her husband got paid again. So then they gave her, on top of filling up her gas tank, a $500 gift card to go shopping. So awesome. And I thought that was amazing. And so that's where, luck is opportunity meeting preparedness. And so she was just in the right time and at the right place, and, shining down. God was shining down on her with those people there to help her out. So I thought it was cool. It's a great story. It's a great feel-good story. And
yes. And I love this time of year. I love the Christmas angels that you can buy gifts for, kids that don't have just gifts coming their way, and all the different opportunities that there are to give back. That's kind of my favorite. This is my favorite time of year. And one of my favorite things to participate in is just giving back. So if you have some favorite traditions, let us know in the comments, guys.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think that's it. We went a little bit long, but like you said, that the AirDNA. So it's airdna.co, not com, for anyone. And we will have the link in the blog. So check it out. But I think it's a really good article.
Yeah, and that's why when I say it's a free article, that's why to check it out, because that is a paid subscription or whatever with that company. And
right.
So to put that out was great, to get in there, but that, the information that they share. So it's really good. But as always, Marie and I are still in the business of helping people out too. And we're still in the business of buying houses. If anybody out there is in a pinch, needs some help, we're still in that business no matter what time of year it is. And we're looking to get some before the end of the year, because we need to satisfy some stuff we need to pay, some, money that we need to get rid of too. So we need to buy some stuff.
Yep. So if you know of anybody looking to sell here before the end of the year, let us know.
Yep.
All right. Well,
yeah. So with that
time
peace and love, we'll be back next week. Go help somebody and have a good week. Bye.
Yes.